Did you know that the moon is terrible at hide and seek? Imagine this. The moon decides to play a game of hide and seek with the sun. The sun starts counting, and the moon dashes off to hide. But there's one big problem. When night falls, the moon can't help but shine brightly in the dark sky. So, every time, the sun finds the moon without a hitch. So the moon isn't very good at hide and seek, but it sure is good at keeping our interest. Have you ever wondered what the moon is and how it came to be? Well, let's dive right in. The moon, my friends, is Earth's only natural satellite. Now, what does that mean? It means the moon is a celestial body that orbits around our planet, Earth. It's been doing this dance with Earth for billions of years, like the most dedicated partner you can imagine. You might be asking, but how did the moon come into existence? Excellent question. Our best guess is that it was born from a dramatic event that happened about 4.5 billion years ago. Imagine Earth having a bad day at the office and then, bam! It gets hit by a celestial body almost the size of Mars. This massive space collision, often called the giant impact hypothesis, caused a chunk of Earth to break off and go flying into space. This space debris, a mix of stuff from Earth and the celestial body that hit us, didn't just wander off into the cosmos though, instead it hung around Earth, caught in our planet's gravitational pull. Over millions of years, this debris slowly started to come together, forming a ball, and eventually becoming our beloved moon. So, in a way you could say that the moon is a little piece of Earth that decided to stick around and keep us company. And it's been doing a pretty stellar job ever since, orbiting around us every 27.3 days. And here's a fun fact before we wrap up. Did you know that the moon doesn't have its own light? That's right. The reason we can see it shining in the night sky is that it reflects the sunlight. It's like the moon is holding up a giant mirror to the sun, sending some of that light our way. So the next time you look up at the moon, remember it's been hanging out there for a very, very long time. The moon does more than just light up our night sky. It exercises an invisible force that stretches far beyond its silvery surface. That's right, we're talking about the moon's gravitational pull. This lunar tug-of-war with Earth results in our ocean tides. As the moon orbits Earth, its gravitational force pulls on our planet's water, causing a bulge or high tide. Where the pull is weakest, we get low tides. These tidal movements are not just for surfers to catch a wave. They play a crucial role in the lives of countless sea creatures. For instance, some species of crabs scuttle out to eat during low tide when the water recedes, revealing a buffet of tasty morsels. Even us humans are affected. High tides can influence shipping routes, and low tides can expose beautiful beach expanses for us to enjoy. Isn't it amazing how something so far away can have such a big impact on our planet? Have you ever seen the moon disappear or change shape in the sky? It's like a cosmic magic trick, isn't it? But there's no sorcery here, folks. It's all about the moon's orbit around the Earth. Let's dive in. First up, let's talk about eclipses. These are grand spectacles where the moon, Earth, and sun perform a cosmic ballet. In a lunar eclipse, Earth pirouettes between the sun and the moon, casting a shadow on our lunar buddy, causing it to darken and sometimes take on a reddish hue. Imagine Earth saying, "Excuse me, moon, just blocking your sunlight for a bit." On the other hand, a solar eclipse is when the moon sashays between the Earth and the sun. It's the moon's turn to say, "Hey Earth, watch this!" And for a brief moment it blocks our view of the sun. But remember, don't look directly at a solar eclipse without special glasses. The sun's still shining behind the moon, and it's not good for your eyes. Now, let's take a moonwalk to the different phases of the moon. As the moon orbits Earth, we see it in different ways. When the moon is between Earth and the sun, we can't see it. This is the new moon phase. As it moves along its orbit, we start to see a sliver of light, which we call a crescent. As the moon keeps moving, we see half of it illuminated. This is the first quarter phase. Then, as more than half of the moon becomes visible, we call this a gibbous moon. Finally, when the moon is on the opposite side of Earth from the sun, we see its full face. This is the full moon phase. Then the process reverses, from full to gibbous to quarter to crescent, and finally back to new. It's like the moon has its own version of hide and seek, right? So, the moon's game of hide and seek with the sun is actually what causes eclipses and its different shapes. Now you know the moon's changes aren't magic, just cosmic dance moves and a game of celestial hide and seek. Did you know that people have actually walked on the moon? Yes, you heard that right. Humans have left their footprints on the lunar surface. And it all began with something called the Apollo missions. Back in the day, around the mid-20th century, A space race was on between two superpowers, the United States and the Soviet Union. The United States, not wanting to be left behind, launched the Apollo program. The goal? To land a man on the moon. Apollo 11 was the mission that made this dream a reality. On July 20, 1969, a spacecraft carrying 3 brave astronauts, Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, and Michael Collins, journeyed through the vast expanse of space. After journeying for about 4 days, they finally reached the moon. Neil Armstrong was the first to step out of the lunar module, followed by Buzz Aldrin. As Armstrong set foot on the lunar surface, he famously said, "That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind." And with those words, history was made. Humans had walked on the moon. But wait, there's more. Fast forward to today, and we have something exciting brewing. NASA, the United States Space Agency, has launched the Artemis program. This program aims to return humans to the moon, and this time they're planning to stay a bit longer. The mission is to establish sustainable exploration by the end of this decade, paving the way for further space exploration, maybe even to Mars. So we've come a long way from that first small step. From the Apollo missions that brought us to the moon, to the Artemis program that aims to make us lunar explorers, it's an exciting journey indeed. Who knows, maybe one of you watching will be the next person to step foot on the moon. Alright, it's time to test your moon knowledge. We've learned a lot today, haven't we? Now let's see how much you've retained. Are you ready? Buckle up, space explorers. Our first question is, what is the moon and how did it come into existence? Remember, we talked about a big, giant impact that might have caused it. Give it a thought. Yes, you got it. The moon is Earth's only natural satellite, and it was formed around 4.5 billion years ago when a large body collided with Earth. Next up, question number 2. Can you name the effect the moon has on our Earth? Think about the tides. Exactly. The moon's gravitational pull causes tides on Earth. It's like the moon is playing a game of tug-of-war with our oceans. And now, for our final question, what was the first human achievement on the moon? This one is a biggie, a real giant leap for mankind. Yes, you're absolutely right. The first human achievement on the moon was when Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin landed on its surface in 1969. You've done an amazing job, space explorers. Whether you got all the answers right or learned something new today, you're on the right track. Remember, every day is a chance to learn and grow. Well done, space explorers, you're on your way to becoming moon experts. That's all for today's space journey. We've had a fantastic lunar adventure, didn't we? We learned how the moon came into existence, how it impacts our very own Earth, its role in eclipses, and the different phases it goes through. Remember, it's not just a big round cheese in the sky. We also walked in the footsteps of astronauts, exploring the history of humans on the moon. There's so much more to discover, and I bet you're as eager as I am to keep learning. Now don't let this knowledge just float away into space. Share it, discuss it, and keep asking questions. The universe is a vast place, full of wonders waiting to be discovered. And you, future astronauts and astronomers, are just the right people for the job. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button to join the GURUKIDZ Smart Kids channel for more amazing adventures. Until next time, keep looking up.